laughed at something, really laughed at something that you or someone else thought was wrong? Take, for example, the following situation. Once a week, a man goes to the supermarket and purchases a chicken. He takes the chicken home and has sexual intercourse with it. He then cooks the chicken and eats it. Tonight I'm going to present a theory that explains why at least some of you laughed about that. So let me start with rather than bore you with a very technical definition of humor, I'm going to define it much like the Supreme Court defines pornography. You know it when you see it. Early theorists defined humor with regard to negative phenomenon, like feeling superior to another person. That is, humor involves aggression, ridicule, or degradation. Other theories, however, propose that humor is due to incongruity. That is, there's some inconsistency between what we expect to observe and what we actually observe, or in this case, experience. Now, there are many rhetorical and empirical challenges to those theories, and on top of that, those theorists are dead and can't defend themselves. So let's not talk about them. Let's talk about me. In collaboration with Caleb Warren and Hurl, the Humor Research Lab, we've developed the benign violation theory of humor. And the BVT has its roots in evolutionary theories of laughter and proposes that people find funny what they find to be wrong, offensive, or threatening to the way they believe the world ought to be, while at the same time they see how the situation is benign or okay. Take tickling and play fighting, for example. Both are playful attacks not intended to harm, and one's laughter signals that it's a benign violation. However, if the attack goes too far, the situation's no longer benign and no longer humorous, at least to the person receiving it. This extends to other phenomenon. So take, for example, Lenny Bruce, the comedian who inspired Richard Pryor and George Carlin. When he used the word cocksucker in his act, his audience thought he was hysterical. The police, however, didn't and booked him here on obscenity charges. We've been studying potentially humorous moral breaches, like Jimmy Dean hiring a rabbi as his spokesperson for pork products, or Keith Richards allegedly snorting his dead father's ashes. So what makes these situations and a person using a chicken as a sex toy funny? Well, it's one thing is that it's just so absurd, it just doesn't seem real. It's psychologically distant. And comedians have known that psychological distance transforms negative events into amusing ones. For instance, Carol Burnett said that comedy is tragedy plus time. And her fellow comedian talked about social distance in his famous quip, tragedy is when I cut my finger, and comedy is when you fall down an open sewer and die. I knew that would get a laugh. Psychological distance also explains why good comedic television, like The Simpsons, The Family Guy, and South Park, are in cartoon form. The violations are hypothetical. They're not real. By the way, he got this answer wrong. So in closing, I want to encourage you to step back and get some psychological distance from the challenges, concerns, and faux pas that you incur on a regular basis. Turn them into benign violations and enjoy the benefits of laughter. Also, check out understandinghumor.org. It's a website that Hurl is putting together for people who want to learn more about humor and contribute to its scientific study. Thank you, Knights.